In a residential home, fire blocking is required. But what if you have a really tall home, like a 2 or 3 story home with a big entry where you walk into the home and you look up and it's 2 or 3 stories tall? Where's the fire blocking go in the walls, in the stud walls, in the concealed spaces of the stud walls? So the 2024 International Building Code, Chapter 7, Section 718.2, fire blocking, it says, fire blocking shall be installed to cut off concealed draft openings, both horizontal and vertical, this way and this way, and shall form an effective barrier between floors, between a top story and a roof or attic space. Okay, so what if you have a really tall wall? So it's 718.2.2, concealed wall spaces. Fire blocking shall be provided in concealed spaces of stud walls and partitions, including furred spaces and parallel rows of studs and staggered studs as follows. Vertically, at the ceiling and floor levels. So vertically, this way, you need fire blocking and of approved materials at the ceiling and at every floor level. So this could be interpreted that when you walk into a really big house with a big entry and you look up and it's 2 stories up, you should turn around to the exterior wall above the entry door and you should see fire blocking at the floor levels, because that's what it says. Vertically at the ceiling, that's all the way up there, and at the floor levels, that's at every floor level. And then also horizontally at intervals not exceeding 10 feet. Well, what do you mean horizontally? If it's bays of 2x4 studs going up, what's the horizontal thing about? Well, it's when there are more than one row of studs. And so it says, this section is intended to prevent the spread of fires within walls. Losses in this area have been seen existing in structures of balloon construction. So that's that whole thing of being a very tall, vertical, concealed space. We don't want a big chimney, essentially, in the concealed space being created, right? We want a fire blocking, as code says, at all floor levels, because in balloon construction, there is no fire blocking between floor levels. It's a straight shot, and that concealed space, well, it's probably very dangerous. It's hard to fight that kind of fire. And then this requires both vertical and horizontal blocking. Vertical blocking simply requires fire blocking in vertical walls and cavities and floors and ceilings, so at every floor level and ceiling. And therefore, a tall warehouse type building may not need vertical fire blocking. So if you have a very tall warehouse type building, like a 1-story, 30-foot tall 1-story level, it's saying it may not need fire blocking because it doesn't have any floors, right? But the idea is, if you want to stop the spread of fire 10 feet horizontally, probably the idea is you don't want a very tall column in the wall cavity without fire blocking, because that's what we have in balloon framing, right? In balloon construction, we don't want that. We want fire blocking at all floor levels. Horizontal blocking is required every 10 feet, and we'll take a look at some illustrations about what that means. And the illustrations are in 2024 IRC, International Residential Code. Here's fire blocking at section R30211, fire blocking, and here's the vertically at ceiling and floor levels, and horizontally not exceeding 10 feet. And if you take a look at the illustrations, here's balloon framing, right? We have a long, big, open space, wall cavity that goes all the way from the bottom floor to the roof or attic, and nothing in between, no fire blocking. So you want vertical fire blocking here to prevent the fire from going into the wall cavity, into the floor cavity. And you want horizontal blocking at every floor level, even though it's balloon framing. So if you have a tall, open, vertical wall cavity with no framing, horizontal framing at the floor level, that's unlikely in residential construction, but you want to have some fire blocking there. So that's the vertical and horizontal and balloon framing. And then here's horizontal for platform framing. It's the top plate and bottom plate. And there's the other types of fire blocking, even for the bathroom tub and the stairs.